Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Backpacktrader training room for Tuesday, August 23rd. Please note the required risk disclosure. This room is for educational and information purposes only. It is not to be considered financial advice. Excuse me. Still recovering, so bear with me if my voice is a little rough this morning. All right. Looks like the YM has just hit money management on that pre-market trade, so we'll be looking for a new trade there. We have a possible get-in sync short on soybeans when the market opens in another 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Crude oil this morning, 12 seconds after our start time, 12 seconds after the hour this morning, short from 91.69, picking up targets 1 and 2 for 39 ticks. And a one and done session. Unleaded then. Picking up a long at 901.51. This long pre-market stopped out, but was well below the entry at our start, so no trade there. Long at 901.51. Plenty of time to get in that. It's money management. If you're trading target 1, you hit target 1 and came back and stopped out, actually right here at the 200 EMA, and I would have moved my stop probably down to 24. Looks like it was at 27, but it was right on the 200, so I would have moved it, kept it back at 24. Stopped out for a partial if you're trading target 2. Target 1 would be one and done. Target 2 would need another trade. This magenta long, which is off the 200 EMA, that is D05 trade setup. I do have that enabled on the chart. That went to money management in 4 seconds from setup, so that one's not tradable. So we come up to at 905.32 and the market is open. And soybeans with a long trade after all. 6 seconds there, still hasn't hit money management, so it's still valid get in sync. $145.25 or $14.45.25. And hitting target 1 in money management, so get in sync is off the table now. There is a short on the YM at 33.003. Spike down through to 01. I would go ahead and move that entry to 90 if you didn't get filled to 999. And it did stop out. So if you didn't get filled, take your order off. And the Russell with a trade right on our start time. That just triggered in on a pullback. I'm sorry, that's in the MNQ. We'll wait 4 minutes on that. The Russell and 3 seconds after our start time up to there, so it's unlikely you're able to get into that. No entry on the short. Seven seconds on that first buy, and then there's a pullback. So target one achieved. Money management, we are at break even at 26.3. And a long on the YM at 0.36. Lots of time to get in that. Pulled back and then up. Good morning, Miles, Bob, Pamela. Thank you all for saying hello. Letting me know who's here. If you were able to catch that soybeans trade, very successful, already through target 2, and there is an add-on which would be a valid trade at 3 minutes after the hour. Only 8 seconds on that bar, so possibly another one a little too fast to catch. And that hit money management. Good morning, Kong. As I was mentioning, unleaded on the 905.32 trade hit money management and came back to stop out for a partial. So that's 2 partials. Good morning, Steve. And 2 and done. 2 money management trades on unleaded. So that completes its session. And the Russell starting to trail, hitting target 3. Stop at 26.8 now. And since the unleaded chart is done, that's not the one I want. The chart I want is right here. All right, that trade has gone too far. So in another, actually, we're in our trade plan now for the micro NQ, waiting for a new setup there. And I'll bring that down here over unleaded. And keep an eye on, and the Russell did stop out for a few ticks on the trail, picking up a win. And the YM, money management and target 1, 37 ticks to target 1, trailing at 0.59 at the moment. And a short trade on soybeans that just triggered in. This is a small trade. 7 tick target, 1 tick more than minimum. That's likely to be our first trade. The two longs going through too fast to catch. And there's target one. So this will be a one and done session on soybeans. Just had to be patient. All right, and the YM stopping out at 067. Possibly a one and done session. Let's see. If you got into the short, you're not going to be positive at this point. The pound Aussie this morning started off with a get in sync short and has just stopped and reversed along. Short long at 23, so key level adjust plus or stop and reverse adjust plus key level is going to put us at 120. Let's see, yeah, 126, which means 138 is our money management level. And target 3 is our first actionable target. You could use target 2. That's just 11 ticks, which we're back down to 2. So that would be a potential target there. And the stop on that pound Aussie trade is sitting down right on the 200. The 200 EMA is currently at 079, I would put the stop at 104. It's a 4-tick adjustment, but around the 200 and the key level, I think I would do that, as well as it gets you down below these two swing levels. All right, the MNQ with a short. Plenty of time to get in that trade. And stopping out for a break even now, just now. No entry on the short, or on the long, rather, on the Russell. And soybeans picked up a 7-tick target and 1 tick on the trailer for the additional 3 positions. 10 ticks on the morning. That's one and done. Russell in a short now, 25.3. And the Russell with money management stopped now to 25.2. Reaching for target 3, and there's target 3. That is 2 wins in a row on the Russell. The Russell stop now at 24.6. MNQ 12-point bar, 3-point offset, catapult, custom Renko chart with a long trade that hit the stop. That one looks like, to me, it was probably not tradable. Touched the stop before it hit the entry, but it was only 7 seconds to the entry. And then just another 6 back down to the stop. So that one's likely avoided. I won't say it's avoidable. It should have been, probably was avoided. And no trigger so far on the short. A stop and reverse on the pound Aussie sets up at 17, so that would go to 19 on the adjustment, or I'm sorry, 15 on the adjustment, 14 on the key level. It puts it right on the 50, which is at 13.7. I'd want to get down to 12. Still triggers in. All right, micro NQ with a long. That cancels the short, and it looks like it stayed just, did it? Well, I don't know. Did it touch the stop? 886 even. We got, yep, it hit the stop on the nose. So we went same second for the first bar print, 15 seconds for it to come back up, but looks like it went down and then came back up. So chances are you did not. That's another one that's likely to be avoidable, or likely should have been avoided. Now everything moving up, hitting both entry, and have to break that bar down with a seconds chart. Use something like a 5-second or 15-second chart to break that bar down and see what the sequence was. If it hit the stop first and then came up and hit the entry, it's a valid trade, and it's hit target 3. All right. Everybody's been quiet this morning. And taking heat on the short trade on the pound Aussie. The MNQ going through targets 2 and 3. The Russell going through all 4 targets. Both of those are cases where you got to break the entry bar down. Actually, the MNQ, the entry definitely occurred before the stop, so it should not be a trade if you recognize the stop, but you may have still had your order in. But all 3 indices heading upward at the moment. And the pound Aussie heading up, trying to set new session highs. Stop still in place. Stop up at 71.36. Looks like micro ES is also showing a pretty strong up move. Lots of movement in the indices this morning. And pound Aussie setting new session highs. About 4 pips down below. Yeah, the highest was set at 32.3, so just under 4 pips from the stop. excuse me, Micro NQ and the Russell both continuing upward. And we got about 8 minutes to the 10 a.m. crude session. Crude currently in a long trade. Obviously, we're not trading in that trade, as we were POQ for our 9 a.m. session and have not reached our 10 a.m. session yet. I will see if Troy is aware of that, because somebody brought it up yesterday, Kong. And right now I cannot get to those pages, but I can go ahead and put those up for you. If you want to go back and look at yesterday's session, Troy did go put those up on during the session, so you can go back and pick up screenshots from that session, or we can, if you'd like, I can go ahead and pull them up right now. We really haven't got anything going on for about 5 minutes, so I don't want to go ahead and pull them up right now. Since that plan was one and done this morning. Okay. The original plan was a one and done plan. It's a 1.25 point momentum bar if you're on TradeStation, or a 5-tick range bar on NinjaTrader. It is in hybrid mode, so that it will only take stop and reverses if they agree with the trend indicator. And that's the first screen of settings. The trend indicator is a simple moving average directional indicator, so that's 20 simple moving average is the basic setup. 2-tick entry offset. I'm using, this is the full counterpunch. This is a counterpunch trade plan, and I'm using the chase ticks on it. In other words, if it goes through an entry before the trade becomes valid, it can take up to 2-tick adjustment to try to get into that trade. All right, so that, have you got the first screen? Okay, there's second screen. Making stop and reverse adjustments manually, which is something we can pretty consistently do across the board. The calculator can do it, but the thing is, it changes the trade sequence. Also, something you may want to consider with this is, since at the beginning of the session you don't want to exclude a trade necessarily against the trend indicator, if the system happens to be already in one in the opposite direction, you can turn off the trend mode and just do that manually. So in other words, this is 0, I 040, and go back to the second screen. Let me know when you have that one. As I said, this is full counterpunch. Some of the inputs will not be on CPX2. And 3, I'm basically using all of the trades. That crude trade is still get in sync. And the short on the pound Aussie is back to its entry. All right. This is just the color section primarily for me, and be different for, that's in a different place on TradeStation. But you will need to get the and the next screen. All right, we're a couple of minutes before our start on the crude oil session. We don't use key level adjustments on quarter point tick markets, which soybeans is. That's the, so key level adjustments is off. And basically that's the end of the what you need through case 16. The rest of that is specific to and also default to NinjaTrader. So that's it. All the inputs are basically the same. They're the same nomenclature on TradeStation and NinjaTrader, so it's transferable back and forth. So that's everything on that trade plan. And we're in less than a minute away. We've still got to get in sync on crude. Oops. No, soybeans is traded on every other month schedule. What you want to do is look at the volume right now, and it also has another idiosyncrasies. There's no September contract, so we're actually on the November contract on soybeans right now, and we're in the 10 a.m. session. And that went up through too fast to catch. Unfortunately, well, I don't know, did it? Yep, that went too fast to catch. So we'll wait for the next trade. Excuse my cough and my voice this morning. I will be glad to get this congestion behind me. This is just nasty to deal with. All right, stopping out. So let's see if we can get a trade in. 26 is going to be the, so yeah, we can get a blue trade, and there's a short trade at 29. And the short gets it done. Targets 1 and 2. 10 and 17, 27. Added to the 39 for the 10 a.m. session. It's a good day on crude. And the MNQ with a full stop out on the long. And we're now in a short. And same scenario on the Russell. 7-second bar, so probably in that trade. And taking a full stop out, and now short. Looks like we hit money management, so this could very likely be, in fact, this is a break-even trade on the Russell, stopping out. Yes, soybeans trades basically odd months except for September, and there's no September contract. So you skip September and go to November. So we're currently in the November contract, and our next contract is going to be January 23. And this is what I've got for volume right now. And 55,000, almost 56,000 contracts on November this morning. Only about 70, just under 7,300 on January. So we're definitely still on November. And the MNQ stopping out on the short, transitioning to long. And just got to get in sync move there. Came back to the entry a couple of times. So in that long trade on MNQ, with that we did get a break even on the Russell and just touched the entry. Let's push that up a tick to 28 and or 32.8, and we just got triggered in. Money management on the MNQ. And money management on the pound Aussie short. Actionable target at 7102. So your order would be something like 7104, because that would execute on the ask, and we're charting the bid price. So that's where you account for spread. And the Russell at Money Management, so 32.8 for the Russell stop, 55.75 for the MNQ stop. Russell with target 2. We're looking for target 3. Almost getting there, and both there's target 3 on the Russell and target 2 on the MNQ. MNQ setting new session highs, and the Russell right at its session high. And targets 2, 3, and 4 on the pound Aussie. Pound Aussie stop at 7107. So your order, so that's a buy order to close the trade, and that's where you would take your spread adjustment. About 2 pips now right now. So 7109 for the order itself. And target 3 on the MNQ. Russell through target 4 with the stop all up through target 3. 35.7 on the Russell, trailing at 76, now 79.25 on the MNQ. 36.2 on the Russell. And 85 even on the MNQ. All 3 markets once again on a strong uptrend, as well as all 4 indices that I'm looking at. Soybeans, or not soybeans, Pound Aussie through 4 targets. Currently a stop at 07. Russell still at 37.2. MNQ at 93.50. Other questions this morning. We're getting to a point where we haven't got a whole lot left to watch. And we were down below 90 yesterday on crude, and it's pushing up again into the mid 90s. I would probably start watching volume, at least check in on it every few days, starting somewhere around beginning to middle of October. Probably start checking in on it beginning of October and just keep an eye on it. But you can, what I would suggest is just make part of your morning routine when you're getting ready to trade, just check on the volume, but the relative volume between the current front month and the next contract out, so that you can tell from your own experience when that typically is going to happen. Pound Aussie stopped down to 71.01. And the Russell and the MNQ both continuing to trail. 37.7 on the Russell, 96.50 on the MNQ. Both setting new session highs. Looks like very likely to move to stop at 7097 on the close of this bar. That's going to put us within a half a pip. Actually, I'm going to put us half a pip below the session open. I think I would just make a 1 pip adjustment. Goes just slightly above. Yeah, there it is. I would adjust to 98 on that one. I might even leave it at 01. And just try to squeeze a little bit more out of that. There's the stop at 97. So if you make an adjustment there, now you got to track it manually. And the Russell and the YM both stopping out of their trades. The YM, or not YM, the Russell and the MNQ. MNQ with a short setup, just triggering in again. Yeah, we got to 97.6 on that bar. So 98 or 01, but either one would have held. And I would keep it at that for one more until the close of the next bar. I'm not going to take it down well into that last bar. We get a down close bar here. Would bring the stop to 17,091, and I'd be okay with that. That's assuming we get a down close. If we get an up close, I'm going to keep it right where it is. All right, I would bring my stop down to 92 now, because the high of that last bar was 90.2. So I'd have my stop right about there. And my order would be at 94, adjusting for spread, because my buy order will execute on the ask price, not the bid price. All right. Further questions? If you played the pound Aussie strictly by the numbers, you stopped out at 97. But adjusting around the session open, at least on my data, would have kept me in the trade. I actually, since that's also when I make that 1 pip adjustment, it also puts me at a major key level at 100 pips. It's at the 7,100 level. I would basically have held that stop at 7,101. And I'll hold 92 here. It doesn't appear this, unless this starts to push lower, it's going to stay at 92. Unless this pushes lower than which it may. That bar has the potential to go a couple of pips below the swing low there. Okay, we had an up close, so we're going to stay at 92. MNQ, I wasn't watching that at the time, so I don't know if that hit the entry first and then the stop, or hit the stop, punch through the stop, then came back down. Good movement in the market this morning, both directions, making for a reasonably profitable session for day traders. Soybeans firing off some good trades as well. Okay, Russell with a short. It hit target 3, trailing now 35.2. That should be our last trade, I think, on the Russell. And if this is a valid trade, we should be at money management. And actually, there's target 2. Okay, there's another swing level. So I'd go ahead and bring my stop down to 91 now. That would be where it would the calculator would actually put it. I was just keeping out of the prior bar at 92. 91 would have actually been out, but only by 0.8 of a pip. Oh, Russell with a very nice, strong trade. MNQ with a target 2, if that's a valid trade. Market's not moving rapidly this morning, but lots of movement, producing some nice trades. All right. Pushing down now. And stop to 88. All right. And Russell's stopping out and setting up a long, as did the MNQ. Stop now at 81. On the pound Aussie. Break-even trade on the Russell on the long. Now into a short. Full stop on the MNQ. We should be at the end of our session for the Russell. MNQ probably in good shape for, I don't know. Break even. That's probably a loss. That I'm going to leave that out of the. Have a good one, Con. Glad to have you today. And I'm going to call it a morning as well here shortly. And actually, we would be done. I don't know. It just depends on whether you avoid some of these trades in here. But yeah, we should be done at this point on the MNQ. So the only thing left then is the pound Aussie, and I'm not going to stick around just to watch the Forex chart, because that tends not to move terribly fast. Okay, so still at 81 for the stop. Closing next bar will move it down to 76, it looks like. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. I have been trying for a while now. It was actually kind of a flu bug. It's not COVID, as I tested a couple of times. I knew I had been exposed to COVID, so I tested about 3 or 4 days after the exposure, the day after I found out about it. And again, once I showed symptoms of like flu, I was afraid that might have been COVID, but it wasn't. Still tested negative. But I just can't get rid of the head cold part of this. Plugged sinuses and draining into my throat. Okay, it pushed down a little bit more. And still going to be 76 unless we get a little bit lower. All right, folks. Our numbers are dwindling, and my voice is getting tired. So I'm going to call it a morning, and we will see. Yeah, exactly, Steve. And we will see everybody tomorrow. Troy will be in for the regular 9:30 session, and then the crude inventory report session at 10:30. So everyone have a good afternoon, and we'll see everybody tomorrow. Thank you very much, Miles.